Awesome. Well, today I'm going to be sharing with you a message entitled, It's Your Time. Come on, will you look at the person next to you and just say, it's your time?
It's your time.
Yeah.
It's your time, bro.
It's your time. Will you look at the person that you didn't choose the first time and the other person and just say, I didn't say it's about time. Come on, say it to them. Come on, say it's about time. It's your time.
It's your time.
Awesome. It's your time. It's your time. Again, like I said, I'm going to tell you a lot of personal stories about myself because I've lived with myself all of my life. And one of the things that was determined when my brothers started having kids, I was determined to be that uncle that decided to be that person that every time we have a Christmas comes around, I was that uncle that was going to have the best gift, right? I was going to just spend the money. We were going to get them what they wanted. I wanted my nieces and nephews to just love me to death. I wanted them to be that. I wanted to be that uncle. A few years ago, there was this toy that was out. It was called like a leapfrog computer or something like that. And you may have known it because you probably bought it for your kids. But it was out, and I found out that my niece wanted that leapfrog computer. So when I found out, I started looking for it. I started searching the internet, and it was sold out everywhere. Everywhere. Just could not find it. Could not find it. You couldn't order it. You couldn't go to the store and get it. It was just sold out. It was back ordered. You just could not get it. Well, finally, it started getting close to Christmas, and I knew time was running out. I had to ship it to Michigan where they were, and I went to Toys R Us, and I just walked around just thinking, you know what, I know it's not here. They already told me it's sold out, but I'm just going to go up there and just see. I'm just going to just look around. So I go up to the store, and as I'm walking around, I go to the aisle that it's on, and that it's supposed to be on, and of course, it's sold out. It's not there. So I stand there in despair, and I'm just going, man, I wanted to be that uncle that just came through, right? I wanted to be that guy. And I looked and I searched behind stuff. It just was not there. While I'm there, this other lady walks up, and then another person walks up, and they're looking for the toys. I'm telling you, it's popular. Everybody wants it. So this other person leaves, and this lady stands around, and she's kind of in despair, just like myself. And so we got to talking a little bit. And she's like, are you looking for the leapfrog computer? I said, yeah, I'm looking for it. She said, oh, my daughter wanted it so bad. I said, I know, my niece wanted it too. And so we have this conversation. So we're sitting there. And finally, I just decided I'm just going to walk around. I'm just hurt because I can't get it. So I walk around and I'm just looking up and down aisles and I'm just back and forth. My head is down. And lo and behold, I look on a bottom shelf on an aisle that is not supposed to be on. I move a toy to the side. And guess what was sitting there?
Come on.
The leapfrog computer. The one that my niece wanted. I could not believe it. It was like the Lord placed it there for me. I hurried up. I looked around like, can I get this? Is it okay? I looked around. I picked it up. And I had a thought in my mind. You know what, Wayne? As a good Christian, you should go and give it to that lady.
As a good Christian.
You should go and give it to that lady and make sure that her daughter has a great Christmas. And then I thought, I want to be that uncle. This is my time. This is my moment. So you know what I did? I took that thing, I ran to the register, I paid for it, I sent it off, and guess what? I was that uncle. I pray, I don't know what happened to that little girl. I pray she had a great Christmas. But my niece loved me. Oh, man, it was awesome. I had to make the most of that moment. I want to read a scripture for you out of Colossians chapter 4, verses 2 through 5. It says, devote yourself to prayer with an alert mind and a thankful heart. Pray for us, too, that God would give us many opportunities to speak about his mysterious plan concerning Christ. That is why I'm here in chains. Pray that I will proclaim this message as clearly as I should. Verse 5 is what I want you to see. Live wisely among those who are not believers and make the most of every what? Opportunity. Make the most out of every opportunity. You know, as I follow Anchor Chapel very closely, as Pastor Tashanti said, as an overseer, I'm so connected to what God is doing. And maybe you might not know who I am, but I feel like I know who you are. And I've been excited about what God is doing and where you guys are going just as a church, but even the actual move of the building, I'm so excited about that. And what I see it as is not just a move and change of locations, but it's an opportunity. I see it as an opportunity. And I see God doing something that is awesome. And you have an opportunity to be a part of what God is doing here at Anchor Chapel. And I feel like it's strategic. It's a moment. It's a moment in time. Like, this didn't happen by accident. I don't believe that this move is by accident, and I don't believe you being a part of Anchor Chapel at this season is by accident.
Wow, that's good.
Listen, there could have been other people who were a part, and maybe there were people who were a part, and there will be people who will come and be a part. But you can say, I was a part of Anchor Chapel when the move was made in this strategic season at Anchor. You could always say that. Good or bad, you could always say that you were a part of it. All right? And you know, I've been in ministry for a long time, and there were different seasons at our church that I was a part of. And I thank God that I had the opportunity to be a part of those shifts and moves and things that happen at our church. And I believe that God wants you in this moment to shift something even in your life as the move is being made physically from one building to the next. I believe God is moving you even in your spirit. I believe God is taking you to a different place. The question is, are you going to make the most out of the opportunity that's given? Are you guys connecting with me here? Come on, anybody online? Listen, I believe that God is going to do something in your life. The question is, what do you do with the opportunity given? This is an opportunity. This moment is not just a move. This is an opportunity. This is a specific time in the spirit that God is doing something. What will you do with this opportunity? Wow. You know, I think about the story of Esther. Oftentimes, Esther is not preached very often. Sometimes it's preached just on Mother's Day. But I think the story of Esther is important.
Yes.
I like the story. As a matter of fact, it was actually the first message that I ever preached at Bethany at a retreat. Years and years and years ago. One of my favorite stories. And when I think about the story of Esther, if you're not real familiar with it, we're not going to read the whole text, but I'm just going to kind of walk you through certain events that happened. King Xerxes, who was the king of the region, many of you know what I'm talking about. I know we got some Bible scholars in here. King Xerxes was the king of the region. He had a wife. His queen was named Vashti. Okay? They ruled and reigned the area. Once a year, King Xerxes would have this big party. I mean, it was, if you want to equate it to something, it was like the Mardi Gras for like 180 days, okay? Just big, huge party. All of the people, everybody would come together and be a part of it. Somewhere in between that 180 days, he decided he wanted his wife, the queen, to come and perform in front of his fellas and all the guys, Queen Vashti. Obviously, Queen Vashti had her own party going on, and she did not want to come and perform in front of the men over here at his party. So all the guys got together and told the king, hey, listen, if your wife don't want to listen to you, what you think our wives are going to do? All right? And so he thought, yeah, that's right. And so they said, well, you know what you ought to do? You ought to fire her as the queen. Get rid of her. You talking about cancel culture, man. My goodness. Wow. Just cancel her. Just get rid of her. And so he said, you know what? That's right. I'm getting rid of, you know what? She is no longer the queen. Bam, put her out. Okay? Now he needs a queen. So they're looking. I mean, and there's eligible candidates all over the place. Where this guy named Mordecai, he hears about the vacancy as for a queen. And he thinks about his cousin, Hadassah, who we know as Esther. He thinks about her and says, you know what, I think she would make a great queen. Now, she probably didn't have the pedigree and the training and all the things that she needed to be a queen because she had lost both of her parents, and Mordecai had actually adopted her and was having her stay in his home. But he thought, you know what, this is a moment. This is an opportunity to put her in as queen. And so they do. They bring her into the palace, and he brings her in. And the thing that I noticed about her was that I'm sure that Queen or Esther thought to herself, you know what? I don't have what it takes to be the queen. I haven't had no formal training. Nobody has ever told me how to be a queen. But this was a moment for her to step up.
Yeah.
And that is my first point. If you want to write down anything, or if you want to take a couple notes on your phone, I only have 3 points, so you can write these down. And if you're taking notes, go ahead and write this down. If you're not taking notes, go ahead and write this down, okay? The first thing that she had the opportunity to do was to step up.
Yeah.
Step up into this moment. I'm sure she thought to herself, there's got to be other ladies who would be far better queens than myself. I mean, look at my past. Look at all the things that I've been a part of, and there's no reason why I should be the queen. And you know what? Oftentimes, we eliminate ourselves because we begin to think about our inadequacies and insufficiencies, and there's other times when God is asking for you to step up, and we say, you know what, I'm just going to step back because I shouldn't be doing those things that God has called me to do. Wow. Maybe the pastor has said, hey, would you step up and lead something, or would you be a part of this, or would you be a part of that? And you go, no, there are more people that are qualified. They're better qualified than myself. And so, you know what, I'm good just kind of sitting in the back and smiling.
Wow.
Come on.
But you know what? I believe in this moment, this is an opportunity for you to step up.
Wow.
That's good.
Wow.
God is calling people in this room to step up. I don't know who I'm speaking to. I don't know who I'm talking to online, but I believe that God is calling somebody in this room, and this may be challenging to you right at the beginning. God is calling you to step up. Step up. Because I believe that in this moment, this move, you're going to go, well, man, there's plenty of people to do other things, but you know what? They're not you.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they don't have the giftings and the talents that God has placed in your life. God has given every person their own specific giftings and talents, and you have something that nobody else has.
Wow.
And God gave you those talents not so you can sit on them, but so you can step up and do what he's called you to do. He's calling you to step up. I think about Seinfeld. I didn't watch a lot of Seinfeld when it was on, but I've watched some of the reruns since it's been out. And there's this one story that I just absolutely love. There's a guy, Kramer, who's on there, okay? Kramer is so funny to me. Kramer, he's not working at the time. He's just doing his thing. But he walks into this company, and he's there. And when he walks in, he realizes that there is somebody that needs a job. Some of you might know the story that I'm talking about. He realizes that there's a position that's open. And so Kramer goes home, puts on a suit, and without even getting hired, just starts working. Starts sitting at the desk and just starts doing stuff and just doing. He would come home with a briefcase, and Seinfeld's like, what are you doing, man? They're busting my hump at work. And he's like, when did you get hired? And so what's so funny, at the end of the show, finally the manager calls him in and he says, hey, I think I'm going to have to fire you for the job that you never had. And he's like, I can't believe that you're letting me go. It's just a funny deal. But you know the thing that I love about it is that he saw opening and he just stepped up.
Come on, yeah.
He just stepped up. He just stepped into it. Nobody else would, and he did.
Wow.
What opening do you see here at the church, and what opening do you see in your community that God is calling you to step up to?
Come on. Wow.
If you see it, maybe God is calling you to step up to it. Well, man, they sure can use a few more people in nursery. Maybe the Lord is calling you to that. Boy, they sure can use somebody else to help with the worship. Well, maybe the Lord is calling you to that, if you can sing and play. right? Maybe the Lord is calling you to that. So I'm encouraging you to step up. What is it time to step up to? Step up to lead a team. Step up to lead a ministry. Maybe God is calling you to step up to lead a group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe the Lord is calling you to lead an anchor group.
Yeah.
We say, I don't know how to do that. Hey, you know what? There are creative ways that we can do it to lead a group.
Yes.
You can get online. We got people at our church that's pulling up their trucks and sitting out in the middle of a park in their truck bed, and they're talking and building community. There are ways to do it. Maybe the Lord is just saying, step up and do it.
Wow.
Maybe the Lord is calling you to do it. Now, somebody told me one day, he said, Pastor, we need to reach more men at our church. And I said, you know what? That's awesome, bro. What are you going to do about it? Right? Like, when are you going to start your group? Because it's always people who are not doing anything that notice the insufficiencies and the things that need to be done. Right? I said, brother, well, that's awesome. What are you going to do about it? So it's time for you to step up. Somebody say, step up.
Step up.
Awesome. Hey, listen, this is the last point I'll say about this before I move on. God is not just calling us to show up. He's calling us to step up.
Wow.
Your days of just showing up are over. God is saying it's time for you to step up.
Yeah.
Step into it.
That's good.
The second thing I see here is the story moves on. So, of course, Esther becomes the queen. That's why she's got a whole book in the Bible. She becomes the queen. And all of a sudden, as she's the queen, this guy named Haman rises into power. He's like right next to the king. And he decides that he wants to kill all of the Jews. So he makes these poles that he wants to impel the Jews from, and he ends up tricking the king to sign this edict to kill all of the Jews. Now, the thing that I left out about the story is that Esther and Mordecai are Jews.
Wow.
So that means that if all of the Jews would be killed, Mordecai, her cousin who got her in that position, and even herself, because it said all Jews, would end up being killed. Mordecai hears about it. Now, Queen Esther, she's over there just living the good life, all right? She's just getting her hair done every day, right? She's just living good life. She don't even know what's going on. She's just being the queen, all right? Mordecai hears about it. He gives word back to her and says, Esther, you have to do something about this. And she says, well, what do you want me to do? You have to go and talk to the king about this. Now, this is a big deal because you don't just walk in and talk to the king. Okay? Why? Because there were so many assassination attempts on the king that nobody could just walk in and talk to the king, including the queen. Okay? So all she had was to hope that if she walked in, he would extend his scepter to her and he would allow her to come in and talk to him.
Wow.
Now, of course, she was nervous. She said, hey, listen, we need to fast and pray before we go in there. And I don't know about you. I'll be telling people the same thing. Hey, if you want me to go and talk, I need some people fasting and praying because I do not want them to cut my head off. So they did. And she mustered up the courage to walk into his presence. He saw her, he extended the scepter, and she went and she talked to him. Now, the first thing that Esther had to do was step up into that moment of being the queen. The second thing she had to do was step out. Somebody say step out.
Step out.
This is what he told her in chapter 4, verse 13 and 14. This is what Mordecai said. Mordecai sent this reply to Esther. Don't think for a moment that because you're in the palace, you will escape when all other Jews are killed. If you keep quiet at a time like this, deliverance and relief for the Jews will rise from some other place, but you and your relatives will die. Who knows if perhaps you were made queen for such a time as this.
Wow.
Maybe God put you in this place, in this moment, for such a time as this.
Wow. Wow.
The question is, what are you going to do with this moment? Esther, are you going to step out? Or are you just going to get to a place where you just feel like, hey, everything is just comfortable and I like being comfortable? You know what? The biggest hindrance of people stepping out and doing something great for God is being comfortable.
Come on.
Right? Because to do something that's kind of different or to lead or something like that, it's you stepping outside of your comfort zone. John Maxwell said this, and I love it. It's convicted me so much. He says, everything you want but don't have is outside of your comfort zone. Think about all the things that you want, but you don't have it. It's probably because it's outside of your comfort zone. Well, I don't know how to do that, and I'm a little scared to do this, and I'm a little nervous to step out and do that. But you know what? You'll never do anything great if you just stay in your comfort zone.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody who's done anything significant has stepped outside of their comfort zone. Think about it. Moses didn't want to go and lead the people out of Israel. He didn't have any experience. He had never led a nation out of Egypt. Matter of fact, he had trouble speaking. But God called him to step out.
Yeah.
Step out. I think about Daniel. Daniel stepped out. I think about Jesus. He stepped out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't have to die on the cross, but he did.
Yeah.
Because he loved us. Was it outside of his comfort zone? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Was the cross comfortable? No. But because he loved us, he did it.
Wow.
And listen, today, maybe what God is calling you to do is to get out of your comfort zone. You ought to go and read about McDonald's, and maybe some of you have. We know the golden arches are everywhere. But there were two brothers who came up with the concept of McDonald's, the fast food, the hamburgers, and making it real fast. The problem was they only wanted to keep it real local. Y'all know the story. They just wanted to keep it local. And they thought there's no way we can mass produce this, but there was a guy named Ray Kroc who came along, and he franchised the entire thing and made billions and billions and billions. But the McDonald brothers, they sold it to him for just a few millions. And of course, those millions are gone by now. But it was because you had somebody who was willing to get out the comfort zone, and a couple other people who said, I'm just going to stay right here. I want to encourage you, step out. Maybe the Lord is calling you. It's not just in ministry. Maybe the Lord is calling you to start a business that will help fund the kingdom of God. Who knows? But maybe God sent me here today to challenge you to step out. Step out and do it. Step out. You know, this is the last thing I'll say about this point here. You know, I liked my current wife. I liked her for a long time before she knew it. I was watching her. I was looking at her. She was cute. She was fun. I was like, oh, my goodness. I would think about her all the time. But she never would have been my wife if I hadn't stepped out.
That's right.
I had to step out. I had to. She didn't come to me, and she wasn't going to come to me. Okay? But I just stepped out one night. It just bothered me the whole night. I can barely sleep. And I said, you know, I'm going to talk to her. I am going to talk to her. I don't like it. I'm nervous. I'm scared. I don't know what she's going to do. She's probably going to reject me. But you know what? I'm going to step out. And you know what? I stepped out. And 14 years later, oh, hallelujah. It's been awesome. And so God is not just calling you to step up. He's calling you to step out.
Yeah.
Finally. So you get in this, the story continues. And this guy Haman, Esther tells the king all the things that was going on. And what ends up happening is that Haman ends up being executed on the same poles that he was trying to set up to kill the Jews. And if you go to the last book of Esther, you see that Mordecai, this little guy, ends up being one of the most prominent people in the region and working close to the king. And so what I loved about this was that not only did Esther step out, and not only did she step up, but she stepped into her calling. And I believe that God is going to call you, once you start stepping up and start stepping out, you'll start stepping into your calling. You know what your calling is? Your calling is not just about you being successful, but it's about making others successful.
Yeah.
You know when you're stepping up into your calling, when you start seeing other people be successful. Not only are you serving on the usher team, but now you got other guys that's helping to serve on the usher team. Not only are you starting a group, but now that you've raised up somebody else to start their own group, or you've not only started your business, but you're teaching other people how to be successful business owners. See, when you start to do that, now you're stepping into your calling. Because real ministry is not just about you, but it's about others.
That's right.
Come on, I'm going to say that again. Real ministry is not just about you, it's about others.
That's right. Come on.
But it's going to take us stepping into it. Stepping into your calling. What does it take for you to step into your calling? Let me give you 3 quick things. Number 1, it's going to take obedience. It's going to take obedience. It's going to take you saying, okay, God, I hear what you're saying. I'm going to step into it. I heard it. I heard the message. It's been messing with me ever since I heard that guy come over there and preach at Anchor. It's been messing with me. That bald head guy you brought over there to Anchor. It's been messing with me. And the Lord is saying, will you do it? Will you do it? Will you do it? And it's going to take you going, yes, Lord, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And you'll begin to step into your calling. It's going to take courage. Yeah, courage is doing something that you're afraid to do. It's taking your foot and getting out on the water and starting to walk. And finally, it's going to take faith. It's going to take faith. Yeah, I realize you may not have all of the money and you may not have all of the things, and you may not feel like you even have all of the knowledge, but you know what? God has everything. And he is your source, and he can provide it all for you. There are things that I've done at Bethany that I was not qualified to do. And see, that's the reason why when I preach this message, this is not just some little message that I've gotten out of the text and out of the word. This is a life story for me.
Wow.
See, I've been at Bethany now for 21 years. I've been on staff. And I wasn't hired as the executive pastor. I came in and I was setting up chairs and tearing down tables. But you know what? As moments came, anytime something came, I just began to step up. If the pastor needed something, I would just step up. We needed somebody to set up chairs for the youth ministry. And I said, hey, I'll set up chairs. I'll do it. Whatever was needed, I just said, I'll step up. Then all of a sudden, there were moments that came that I stepped out. Pastor Jonathan asked at one time, he said, listen, Wayne, I want you to oversee all of worship, production, lights, sound, all of those things. I want you to oversee that. You know how much I don't even sing. I don't play an instrument. I didn't know anything about lights or sound or anything like that. And without any kind of hesitancy, I said, absolutely, I'll do it. I don't know it, but you know what? God knows everything. And I'll go study, I'll go learn, and I'll figure it out. And you know what? I oversaw it for 4 years.
Wow.
And took it to another level. Not because I'm special, it's because I was just willing to step out.
Yeah. That's good.
And then step into your calling. You know, one of the reasons why I can be here now is because we've been actually able to raise up people to run our campus and to do things at our campus now and lead, because we've had the opportunity to pour into people.
Yeah.
Amen.
My wife and I, that's what we live to do, and we feel like that is our calling. Can I just tell you something? I don't want you to live a life that was the woulda, coulda, shoulda life. This is your time. This is your moment. And I'm not here by accident, and you're not here by accident. It's your time to step up. It's your time to step out. And it's your time to step into your calling.
Amen.
I believe this is a word for somebody in here today. This is your moment. What it's not time to do is step away.
Whoa.
Transition happens, And a lot of times people think to themselves, well, you know what, this is a good moment for me just to step out of the way and just whatever. No. God is not saying step away. He's saying step up. Step into it. Lean in. Look, as you guys move to St. Gabriel, this is the moment. This is the time. And I'm believing that God is going to do something great at Anchor Chapel. And I'm telling you, there are going to be people that are going to come, lives are going to be changed.
Yes, God.
And you were a part of it.
Yes, Jesus.
Because you were in the right place at the right time.
Thank you for joining us for this message. If you'd like to learn more about Anchor Chapel or support our ministries, you can visit anchorchapel.com or follow us on social media at Anchor Chapel. Have a great week.